What if the loudest enemy you'll ever face lives inside your own head? What if the person pulling you down every day is not someone else, but your own thinking? What if every doubt, fear, and frustration you carry is nothing more than a lie you've believed for too long? You wake up feeling tired, not from lack of sleep, but from the war happening inside your mind. You look into the mirror and instead of confidence, you see questions. Am I good enough? Why can't I stay focused? Why do I always feel this way? You walk through your day trapped in silent battles, overthinking, second-guessing, fearing what others think of you. It's not always visible, but it's always there. Now think of this. A single candle can break the darkest night. One clear thought, rooted in reason, can silence 1,000 doubts. Let me tell you a simple truth. If your house were on fire, you wouldn't sit inside and wonder why. You'd get up. You'd move. You'd do something. Negative thinking is the same. It burns, slowly, silently. And you must not let it consume you. Welcome to Book Boost, a space for people who are ready to fight back with wisdom, with discipline, and with strength. If you're tired of being your own prisoner, stay with us. If you're ready to challenge the voice in your mind, not with anger, but with reason, then you're exactly where you need to be. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments below. We'd love to know how you define inner strength. And if you find power in these words, like, share, and subscribe to our channel so we can grow together, one truth at a time. Now let's go deeper. The Stoics knew something we often forget. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't talking in metaphors. He was speaking to people like us. People overwhelmed by life, yet unaware that the chains are mostly internal. Negative thoughts don't knock on the door. They creep in slowly. They disguise themselves as facts. They echo the past. But Stoicism teaches us that we are not those thoughts. We are the gatekeepers. We choose what enters, what stays, and what must leave. This video isn't just about killing negative thinking. It's about reclaiming the throne of your own mind. The mind is the battlefield. Choose what you let in. The mind is not a quiet place. It is not a garden where only good things grow. The mind is a battlefield where thoughts, emotions, memories, and imagination fight for control. And every day, without realizing it, we are choosing which voice to obey. Most people live without noticing this war. They think whatever enters the mind is just part of life. But that is not true. The Stoics taught something radical. You are not your thoughts. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your sadness. You are the one watching all of it. You are the judge, not the storm. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often, the things you think about determine the quality of your mind. This wasn't poetry. This was survival. As a Roman emperor, he had power, wealth, and enemies. But his biggest task was guarding his own mind from poison, envy, pride, hatred, and fear. Look around you. In one day, how many thoughts come into your mind that weaken you? Maybe it's the idea that you'll never be enough. Maybe it's the guilt of past mistakes. Maybe it's jealousy when you see someone doing better than you. These thoughts may feel true, but feeling is not truth. The Stoic path teaches you to pause and question everything. The first step is awareness. You must begin to notice your inner world like a soldier watching the city gate. Don't let every thought walk in. Don't let every fear settle inside. Just because your mind offers a thought doesn't mean you must accept it. Ask yourself, is this useful? Is this helping me become stronger, wiser, calmer? If not, reject it. Negative thinking often enters in disguise. It may sound like caution. It may sound like logic. But if it pulls you down, if it paralyzes you instead of moving you forward, then it is an enemy. The Stoics didn't say ignore your feelings. They said rule over them. Let reason lead emotion, not the other way around. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is true for all of us. We replay old memories. We fear things that haven't even happened. We imagine judgment, failure, rejection, and suffer from what doesn't even exist. What Stoicism gives us is the sword to cut through this illusion. You must become the guardian of your own mind. Not with violence, but with discipline. Every time a thought arises, test it. Is it true? Is it needed? Will it serve me or weaken me? You don't owe attention to every thought. Attention is power. Where your attention goes, your life goes. The battlefield of the mind is full of traps. One trap is comparison, believing that others are better, stronger, more capable. But this is a lie built on surface images. The Stoic doesn't compare. The Stoic competes only with their own yesterday. You don't need to match others. You only need to master yourself. Another trap is worry, thinking about everything that could go wrong. But Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In this you have the power to revoke it any moment. What happens is not the enemy. How we react is. The battlefield is also filled with noise. People's opinions. Social pressure. The need to please. The fear of being disliked. These are arrows shot at your peace. But you are not here to live according to someone else's approval. The Stoics call this living in accordance with nature, which means to live by reason, not popularity. Let's talk about anger. Anger is a loud fighter in the mind. It tells you that you were wronged, that you must respond, that someone deserves your fury. But Epictetus said, when someone does wrong, it's because they are mistaken about what is right. That doesn't mean you become weak. It means you stay in control. You do not hand your peace over to fools. Self-control is not silence. It is strength. Choosing not to react is not cowardice. It is wisdom. You win battles not by shouting, but by standing calm when others lose their heads. The world doesn't need more people who explode. It needs more people who stay composed. Now, think of your thoughts like seeds. If you plant anger, you'll grow more anger. If you plant fear, you'll live in fear. But if you plant courage, stillness, discipline, you will build a life that cannot be shaken by what others say or do. The mind becomes what it repeats. You are not helpless. You are not broken. You are simply untrained. And training the mind is the most powerful thing you will ever do. Not once, not sometimes, but every day. The Stoics didn't train for a month. They trained for life. Because life never stops testing you. You can start today. Just pause when a negative thought enters. Breathe. Look at it. Question it. And speak to it with reason. Say, you are not useful. You are not welcome. I will not build my life on lies. Over time, your mind will obey. The thoughts that once ruled you will disappear like mist in the morning sun. So remember, the mind is a battlefield. But you are not just a soldier, you are the commander. Choose your thoughts. Protect your peace. And never forget that the war inside is the one you must win. Everything else is just noise. Emotions are visitors, not rulers, mastery through observation. As told by a Stoic philosopher, in very simple yet deeply motivating language. There are moments when a wave of anger hits you. Moments when fear grips your chest. When sadness quietly sits beside you like a shadow. These emotions are strong. They arrive without warning. They speak loudly. But here is the truth a Stoic understands deeply. They are not permanent, and they are not in charge. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your sadness. These emotions come, and they go. Like wind through a room, they pass. But when you start believing that your emotions are you, that's when the trouble begins. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. That's what separates those who are ruled by emotion from those who observe it. A Stoic does not deny emotion. He does not run from it. He simply refuses to let it rule him. Think of your mind as a clear lake. Thoughts are the fish, and emotions are the ripples on the surface. If you throw a rock into the water, rage, jealousy, guilt, it stirs everything. But if you just sit, quietly, and wait, the water clears again. That's what observation does. It gives you space to breathe before you react. Most people live on impulse. A harsh word is thrown at them, and they throw two back. A mistake happens, and they spiral into frustration. Someone walks past them without saying hello, and they start crafting stories of rejection. But this is not mastery. This is slavery to emotions. Epictetus, a man who was once a slave but became a great teacher of freedom, said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." The Stoic understands that the world will always move. People will always speak. Events will unfold without your control. But how you meet these things, that is your responsibility. When you feel anger rise, observe it. Don't react. Say to yourself, this is anger. It wants me to shout. It wants me to lose myself. But I am more than this moment. You are the observer. And in observing, you already begin to weaken its grip. Let's say someone betrays you. The pain is sharp, no doubt. But if you sit with it and ask, is this betrayal within my control? You begin to see clearly. If it is not in your control, then it must not take your peace. That is the first step to emotional freedom. The Stoics practiced a daily habit called premeditatio malorum, a reflection of things that could go wrong. Not to live in fear, but to prepare the mind. So that when hardship came, they could say, I expected you. I'm ready. This readiness is what makes a Stoic unshaken. You see, emotions are not enemies. They're teachers. Anger shows you where you are still attached to control. Fear shows you what you value. Sadness reveals your expectations. But none of them should sit on the throne. They are visitors. And like any visitor, you decide when it's time for them to leave. There's a power in simply pausing. One breath. One moment of stillness between the stimulus and your response. That space is where character is born. It's where wisdom lives. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Emotions are the fire that tests the steel of your soul. A Stoic does not suppress. He understands. He questions. He waits. When panic comes, he does not say, "I am doomed." He says, "Let me see this clearly. Let me hold on to reason." And that clarity begins to calm the storm. Even in grief, a feeling so deep it drowns the spirit, the Stoic sits with dignity. Not because he feels nothing, but because he knows mourning is part of life. Marcus Aurelius lost children. He wept. But he also wrote, "Do not suppose that, if the thing is hard to bear, it is therefore beyond human power. Consider, if something is possible for another, it is possible for you too." So the next time an emotion takes hold of you, don't fight it with fear. Don't drown in it either. Say, "I see you. You are a part of me, but not the whole of me. You will pass, like all things pass, and I will remain." Real mastery is quiet. It is not in shouting that you are strong. It is in not needing to. It is not in hiding how you feel. It is in knowing how to respond. The Stoic remains unshaken not because he is cold, but because he is clear. He feels deeply, but he chooses wisely. Train your mind to see emotion for what it is, a moment, not a sentence, not a judgment, not a command, just a moment. And in that understanding, you will find peace. You will find power. You will find yourself. Burn the old scripts, rewriting your inner dialogue. There comes a point in life where the stories we tell ourselves become heavier than the truth itself. We carry around old sentences, old judgments, and invisible chains tied to moments that no longer exist. These thoughts aren't facts. But over time, we begin to live by them as if they are laws. "I always fail. I'm not meant for this. I'll never change." These phrases become scripts, repeated, reinforced, and quietly accepted. But the Stoic path does not accept lies, even if they sound familiar. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in Meditations, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Imagine that. The soul, your very essence, being stained by the repetition of false, self-limiting beliefs. When we allow destructive thinking to live inside us, we slowly become it. But here is the truth. We are not our thoughts. We are what we do with them. You do not have to keep speaking the language of defeat in your own mind. The Stoics taught that we are not bound by the thoughts that arise. We are bound by whether we allow them to rule us. Epictetus said it clearly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And this includes how you react to your own thoughts. A negative thought does not have to become a belief. A belief does not have to become a pattern. And a pattern does not have to become your identity. Too many of us are living like we're trapped in a story someone else wrote. A story shaped by fear, failure, or judgment. But that old narrative, those tired lines that whisper, "You can't," they can be rewritten. Not with fantasy, but with clarity, with discipline, with practice. The Stoics did not teach magical thinking. They taught ownership. Radical, uncomfortable ownership. They taught us to examine every belief, every judgment, every emotion, and to ask, "Is this helping me live well?" And if the answer is no, then we must let it go. Rewriting your inner dialogue is not about lying to yourself. It's about speaking with accuracy. You're not a failure, you failed once. You're not broken, you're in the process of healing. You're not behind, you're learning your pace. This is not motivational fluff. This is clarity. This is power. Because until your thoughts are aligned with what is real, you will continue to live in a shadow. And the Stoics wanted nothing to do with shadows. They wanted truth, even if it was hard, even if it was heavy. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire yet struggled in silence with his own mind, wrote daily reminders to himself, not to impress others, but to survive himself. In one passage, he reminds himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That includes your thoughts. The negative scripts? They're not just in the way. They're the way, if you face them directly. You must become the editor of your own mind. You must start recognizing which thoughts are yours and which are echoes of something you've outgrown. Every time you catch yourself thinking something like, "I'll never be good enough," pause. Ask, Who said that first? Was it a voice from your past? Was it a moment of shame? Was it just exhaustion speaking? If it's not true now, it does not belong in your mind. To live like a Stoic is to live in the present, not in the memory of past failure. It is to sharpen the blade of reason and cut through the fog of emotion and assumption. The old script, the one where you are small, weak, and capable, it must be burned. It must be questioned so deeply and so often that it can no longer survive in the light of your attention. And do not fear the blank page that follows. The silence that comes after letting go of old beliefs is not emptiness. It is space. It is room for new principles, grounded in virtue, reason, and truth. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." That suffering, that fear, that doubt, it can be dismantled by thinking correctly. Not perfectly, just correctly, as in, aligning your thoughts with what is real, useful, and virtuous. So how do you do it? You begin with awareness. Start noticing which thoughts replay the most. Write them down. Read them aloud. Do they serve you? Do they build you? Would you say them to someone you love? If not, then why allow them to live rent-free in your mind? Then you question those thoughts. Stoicism is not passive. It is an active, ongoing practice of self-inquiry. You must ask, again and again, is this thought helping me become stronger, wiser, calmer? If the answer is no, then you have work to do. Not in the world, in your own head. Finally, you replace the old lines with new ones, not sugary affirmations, but grounded truths. Instead of, "I'm not capable," say, "I have not mastered this yet." Instead of, "I always give up," say, "I'm learning to endure discomfort." These are not tricks. They are new mental habits, slowly built, deeply earned. The Stoic doesn't walk around pretending nothing is wrong. They simply refuse to be ruled by what is wrong. They look pain in the face and ask what can be learned. They face fear and respond with action. They hear the voice of doubt and they speak back with reason. Not anger, not shame, but firm, calm truth. You can't stop thoughts from appearing, but you can stop rehearsing the ones that hurt you. You can stop feeding the ones that weaken your resolve. You can stop letting your past write your present. And that begins by burning the old script, not with fire, but with awareness, courage, and wisdom. It will not happen overnight, but it begins the moment you decide that your mind is not a playground for negativity. It is a temple of strength, a fortress of reason, and you are its guardian.